Zach Davies will be a big part of this Brewers rotation. Zach, how's it going so far? Good to see you.
Doing great. Good to see you guys.
League leader in games started last year. How about that? Did you know? Did you know? Like, hey man, I'm leading the league in that.
I didn't until the end of the year. Once it rolled around, and you kind of look back on how the season went, and it was a fun season as a team last year, and be able to stay healthy and be a part of it throughout the entire year.
So you did 33 starts, led the league, did 191 innings. Not what we would normally think about. What was the utilization, for you? Was it things getting a little earlier these days and getting a pitcher out?
I think it came down to the beginning of the season for me. I struggled at the beginning of the season, and it was something that I kind of took to heart and got better at as the season went along. So I kind of put myself in that hole to start the year, but kind of building on that every start, and after the first about month and a half was kind of back to the old me.
Okay, because there's two ways of looking at it: getting you out when you have to get you out, getting you out before there's damage. Where do you stand on that? Because that came up big in the postseason. 4 shutout innings, 5 shutout innings, yet give me the ball, I want to get fresh arms. Or do you hang with that guy on the mound? Where are you on that?
I think every team, every manager has a sense of each pitcher that's out on the mound. So he knows what it looks like when things are kind of going to snowball, and he knows when guys are going to bear down and kind of get the job done for the rest of the game. So Counsell does a great job with knowing each pitcher, and I leave it up to him. It's a great baseball mind that knows exactly what he wants to do with the game, and every decision is for the team, and it's not for a single person. So at the end of the day, a win is what you're going for.
Well, that's the trick, right? Like, if we have these conversations all the time, John Smoltz is always in on them. How do we let you grind through that inning when there could be damage? Or if we're always taking you out, how do we know if you could ever get through that inning? All right, so how is that when you're like, okay, there's 2 guys on, there's 1 out in the 6th. Should I go? Should I stay? Like, is that a mental thing to try to get through? Do you have to overcome that?
You get your mental checks, your focus points and things to kind of lock yourself back in and try and get through that inning. But right now is actually a perfect time for that in spring training, where the results aren't kind of the end of the day thing. And you can work through innings like that. You can figure out ways to focus in on your task at hand and get through those innings because you're in a pitch count and you have certain things that you're working on. At the end of the day, you got to figure out what mental cues you need to get yourself locked back in for the rest of that inning.
And I guess experience is important, part of that. You got to go through that. All right, give us an idea, state-of-the-art game planning. I'm sure your baseball ops people have a way of getting things to you in looking at your sequencing. Tell us about that.
It's a lot of information, and guys have in the past kind of gotten overwhelmed with it, but as you go along, you work through what you need and what you don't need. But there's any piece of information that you ever would possibly imagine at hand. So I get my sheets from all the analytics guys and what the hitters have done for the last couple weeks, and I usually look at video of similar guys for the last few weeks that have faced those teams, and there's a lot of preparation, a lot of homework that's not seen. It's kind of behind closed doors, but it all goes into your day of work with your starts.
Yeah, and what pitches might be effective after certain pitches, or you're working in away, or in stay in, stuff like that. Give us an example.
Yeah, it's sequencing is kind of my repertoire. That's exactly what I need to use to be successful. And when I stray away from what I do best in throwing changeups, throwing lots of off speed for strikes, that's when I struggle. And when I notice that and I can focus back in on what I do best, it kind of changes for me.
All right. How about the team? How good do you think you guys are this year?
I think we're just going to build on last year. I know I talked with a lot of guys and said we're going to surprise some people last year, and I'm pretty sure that we did. And I know that a lot of people might look at it as a fluke, but I believe in every guy in this clubhouse, and I know every guy believes in each other. And I think Counsell's message of staying connected with our team is going to continue this year and surprise some more people.
How big is outfield defense to a pitcher like you?
Oh, it's huge. Any player on defense is huge. When you add guys like Kane and Yelich, they're great guys, but they're also all-star baseball players, and they're great defensively. And knowing that that ball is going to fall in the gap, and you realize who's behind you, and you turn around and you see spectacular plays made behind you. It's an awesome feeling.
All right.